On the line right now, legendary WCW, WWE star, Diamond Dallas Page. How you doing, buddy?
I don't know. What the fuck did you just...
That was Lord Tensai, the guy from WWE. You know Albert. That was his song.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He got down with his inner Miley Cyrus, man. It's all right. There's no shame in that. There's no shame. All right, let's get right into it, Mr. Page. This is awesome stuff. You know, I saw the YouTube video you got. You talking about Diamond Dallas Page yoga. Great stuff. Now, this is a disabled veteran. Tell us about this video because it brought a tear to my eye. I love this video, and I send it to all my friends. Please explain this video and how far this man has come.
Well, you know, it's pretty crazy because this happened 5 years ago. We just didn't put it on to this type of a film or this type of we didn't put it out there like to sell DVDs, even though it sold a crazy amount. Because I would have put DDP Yoga in there. Would have ended with my trailer. I always say it ain't your mama's yoga and all that. But that's not what our point was. The point was to inspire people, and it's from a movie. Inspired the movie, and the director made that cut and sent it to me, and I was like, dude, that's awesome, man. Let's put it out there, and let's see how many people we can get to watch it. Never knowing, because I took off on the road at that point, that it was going to blow up the way it did. I got to the airport, I guess like 3 days later, it went viral, and I got to the airport, and I saw David Copperfield on Twitter wrote on my page, he said, stop what you're doing right now if you want to watch real magic. I was like, whoa, did David Copperfield say that? Tony Robbins came on and said one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen in his life, and that's a lot coming from him. So I knew it was going to go on to a different level. And the whole thing with Arthur, I met him almost 6 years ago. This February will be 6 years. I met him online. He bought my original workouts. And anybody who bought the workouts back then, I'd send him an email saying, hey, man, I really appreciate you getting the email, the workouts, and love to get some feedback from you. And his was amazing. And I could tell he needed some help, so I fired back another email saying, what's your issue? He wrote back, he relegated to thinking of himself as a piece of furniture. He's morbidly obese, a disabled veteran, used to be a paratrooper. I don't know if you're anything about paratroopers or not, but those guys drop 10 to 15 feet a second with 50 to 100 and 200 pounds on their back. So when they hit the ground, pretty much like professional wrestling, you can't fake gravity. So his body taking a serious ass whooping. And I said, send me some pictures of you. And he sent me the picture of him with the canes, just like in the video. You saw those two pictures. And I was like, man, how am I going to help that guy? And I had this I got like 3 different ways to eat, for health and just trying to lose weight, and then a lifestyle, because nobody can do a diet because they just don't work. What's the first 3 letters of the word diet?
Die.
Die, right. Do you know one that works? I mean, do you know one that you can say, wow, I could live like this forever? None of them, because they're too drastic. My stuff's a lifestyle. I sent him my level 3 because that was really geared towards real health and nutrition. And if he sends me back, I'll give it a try, or, I think I can do this. I would have wrote back, good luck, keep me posted. But he didn't. He wrote back, I can do this. So I wrote back, send me your phone number. And we got on the phone. It's the first person I ever called that I didn't know. Now I do it all the time. But back then, I didn't know him. So I called him up, and we started talking. And I explained to him, as important as, the DDP Yoga, or at that time it's called YRG, which is one of my workouts, which stood for Yoga for Regular Guys. And I said, as important as the workouts are, as important as the eating plan is, it's really only 10% of the solution, my friend. The 90% is between your ears. And I said, I do a talk on living life at 90%, based on life's 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. I suggest that you get that and you watch it and you own it and you get my Own Your Life, and which is an audio book, a CD. Back then, when I did that, I tell a story about Cody Rhodes back when he was 18 years old. And at the time I did that CD, he was in Hollywood, and he was like about 6 years ago I did that CD. And I talk about him in high school, and you'll have to get it to hear it. But, I knew Cody was going to be a big star down the line. I think he's one of the guys who's really going to shine over the years that come up. But I knew it when he was a kid, because you could see it. There's people who work really hard and have a vision and drive towards a vision, and then there are others who don't. And Arthur was one of those people. And after we got off the phone, he went to YouTube, and he put a video up there about, he's a little scared, to start again because he's afraid he's going to fail again. And, he's really hoping this time he sticks to it. And I put this blog up on YouTube. I didn't know what the hell YouTube was back then, but I happened to come across it because I had a bunch of videos my web people put up there. This is 5 years ago. And he wrote, I'm really hoping you'll, come by and check on me and see, are you still doing, DDP's YRG workout? Are you still sticking with the eating plan? Because I understand if you tell people about it, you're more likely to be more accountable. And I was like, oh, my God, this guy with the YouTube. And he's like, not just saying it, not just writing it down. He's putting it on film for people to see, to make himself accountable. So I called him up like 2 days later. I go, Arthur, was that you? He goes, yeah. He goes, you want me to take it down? I'm like, no, dude, that's awesome. And I said, get yourself a better camera because that camera sucks. And I said, film everything you do. Never thinking he'd film everything he did, So it was amazing. His son filmed his entire journey. And Steve Yu, who is the director of Inspired the Movie, is a very good friend of mine. And he said, years ago, I'd met him before this, and he said, hey, Dave, if you ever come across any of your people you think are going to be really inspired by what you say and that we could use them in a movie, I'd love to. So after 2 weeks, Arthur called me back. And he said, I lost 20 pounds and 4 inches off my stomach. I was like, oh, my God, that's awesome, man. He goes, I want it to keep going. What can I do to keep it moving forward? I was like, Arthur, those are Biggest Loser numbers, dude. Back 5.5 years ago they were, before they put 600-pound people on there who lost 40 pounds in a week. But, that was great, 20 pounds in 2 weeks. I said, how often are you doing the workout? He said, 5 days a week. And I said, we'll do it 7. He goes, can I do that? I said, bro, when I blew out my L4 and L5 in my low back and they said my wrestling career was over, I worked my way from 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week, 7 days a week, to 3 hours a day, 7 days a week. I said, I wanted to get back in the ring. That was my goal, and I did in less than 3 months. And I said, this is all about you. Make this workout your own. I said, work around it. Don't beat yourself up. You watch your heart monitor. Long story short, you saw what he did in 10 months. He lost 140 pounds. And today, it's like, forget about it. Right? He can do shit I can't do.
DDP, can you further go into the yoga routine and how it rejuvenated your body? And also, have you reached out to or expressed any interest in some sort of cross-promotion with Trish Stratus and her yoga company?
Well, Trish does a different style than I do, and there's so many different styles. And I wanted to come and see her when I was in Canada, and she was too busy at the time, and I was just up there like 5 weeks ago. And I did a bunch of radio and TV, and I wanted to go over and do a workshop. And now, bro, since this happened, I'm getting calls from yoga studios around the world, that want to bring me in. And, it's pretty exciting right now. I would love to have done something. Calls me back, then I'm sure we'll get together. I love her. She's a great chick. But she was so busy at the time, she didn't have any time. And so I was like, okay, no problem. I move along with that. But I do a lot of, my stuff at dojos, too, where I come in and I do workshops. So if anybody wants out there and knows somebody who has a dojo or whatever, or a corporation, they want me to come in, because everybody's health and fitness. And, like, Arthur did this with me 5 years ago. Arthur's one of my key guys, as far as in life, period. So, it's not like, I don't have a relationship with him and what we do. And what I'm doing now, this just gave, monster credibility, And another thing that, I always say DDP yoga, it ain't your mama's yoga. And that offended a bunch of yogis, you know. So I was like the black sheep of yoga, you know. And so I didn't even try to put myself in studios like that, except for Trish, because I figured that we were, you know, we're from the same school, so to speak. We don't do the same kind of yoga, and my yoga is for people who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga. You know, it's like there's so much more. I use yoga positions. Also, you rehab. I rehab my shoulders, my knees, my ankles, every part of my body. There is something in my workout to help you rehab, help you break up scar tissue, but I also have old school calisthenics, push-ups, squats, crunches. You're not going to find any of that in a yoga workout, but in mine you will. And you'll find it in this slow burn movement. Like for push-ups, we lower for 3, hold for 3, push up for 3. Now, if you can't do that, you just stay up and plank. Trust me, that's a workout. There's a video on my YouTubes of me holding a 6-minute plank. Try that. And that was at 55 years young. I'm always putting stuff up on my videos so people can see, oh, my God, how is he doing it at 56 years young? Because I have the fountain of youth. You know, it's yoga, it's old school calisthenics, it's mixed martial arts, rehabilitation. What makes it completely different, I just got done working out with my nephew. He's 12 years old, 235. He's a bodybuilder. He's going to be a bodybuilder down the just remember, Quentin Spillane. You're going to see him down the line in a few years. But I just did this with this stud who's 6'2" and 235. And McCon. And he's been doing it since he's 12. You got to see how strong this guy is, how ripped he gets. And his heart rate went from probably about 74. He was at 144 in the first 3 minutes. He was at 68 to 180 within 7. And then when he comes down, I take him into a position where we're engaging the muscles as we move. I call it dynamic resistance. He went from a 120 to, what was that, Q? What did you? It was like 182, and I'm just showing what down to around 165. That's what you're going to. So it all comes down to how old you are to where your heart rate should be. So, and by the way, anybody who's listening to this, if you want to hear at Thursday's mouth tomorrow night, Eastern Time, 9 o'clock, I have DDP Radio and DDP Radio TV, or I should say DDPRadio.com, and that's how you get there. And I'm on at 9 o'clock, and I'm going to do about an hour and a half to 2 hours with Arthur, you know, and then talk about all the things we've got going on. And, you know, I also don't want to, you know, push away because, you know, Arthur's like main focus right now, but it was really Chris Jericho that put DDP Yoga on the map before anybody, besides me, you know, that came from a different world, who came from a guy that they said his career was over, and 3 months later he's 95% pain-free, you know, promoting my DDP Yoga everywhere. I mean, I'm so grateful to Chris because I don't pay him, you know, but I helped him, and he's helped me get the word out. He loves to work out.
A question for you. How did you decide that this was what you wanted to do post-wrestling? How did you decide that DDP Yoga was the path you wanted your life to take?
I never decided that. It sort of just happened. You got to remember, first 42 years of my life, I'm a guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga. You know, because the bottom line is I saw yoga as what every other guy, man's man sees it. But I was ignorant, just like so many of us are. And I ruptured my L4 and L5 right at the end of 98, going to 99. My back was, you know, there's only so much wear and tear you can put on your body. And pretty much everybody knows now, not everybody, but most people know I didn't start wrestling till I was 35. My career didn't take off till I was 40. No one thought before 1996 that Diamond Dallas Page would ever be anything but a mid-card cat that couldn't carry anything. The bottom line, in 1996, my career blew up. I was 40 years old. 97 and 98, according to Pro Wrestling Illustrated, I was number 4 in the world. That doesn't mean I was number 4, but we all know I was in top 10. You know, I was one of the best wrestlers in the world. And then I ruptured my L4 and L5. Do you know where that is?
Lower back?
Yep, it's the 2 lower vertebrae. They're the 2 that Shawn Michaels blew out. and then had to have surgically fixed. That's how bad. We all know Shawn Michaels was one of the greatest risk takers ever in our business. And if you ask him,